and gentlemen, we have just landed at Yangon International Airport. The local time here is 7 minutes past 9 in the evening, and the outside temperature is 27 degrees Celsius.
Myanmar is a country that has been enduring civil war for 60 years. There are something like 15 different armies that have rejected the central government in Myanmar. All of that is contributing to an orphan problem that's not going away anytime soon. And these kids that are coming from these regions like Chin State, where they're experiencing from very young ages war, poverty, and hopelessness, they now have hope because of the ministries of Samuel and Jeremy, supported by Hopeful Hearts. These kids have no place else to go.
We have two major partners, Samuel Thang and Jeremy Lemmy, and they have what I call are large children's homes. And we help them with living expenses. All of the children have to have uniforms to go to school. There is a tuition at school. We help them with that. We don't provide everything for either partner because we want them to become self-sufficient.
We get off to Samuel's and the kids just come up and start, everybody wants to shake your hand. It's like you're a rock star over there. We shook every single one's hand and they were very excited for us to be there. You could tell that.
If you had not known that it was not feasibly possible for a couple of this age to have already parented 30-some-odd kids, you wouldn't have known they were not a family. The kids were bright, they were happy, they would stand and fan us while we would eat oranges, and they were just so hospitable.
The kids that lived at Samuel's had lived in like this compound. It was completely fenced in. In the front, there was about 3 different buildings. Some were open air. There was a little store they had where they sold just various different things. And then in the back, they had a whole farm. So they had bananas there, they had like watermelon, all sorts of different roots. And they would actually cook with those things. They sleep on wooden boards that are elevated with just a roll-out mat, and it's not really padded. I thought that was interesting.
The first time I was so impressed because when I knew he had children. I looked for his children. I couldn't find them because they take such good care of those kids that they all look like Samuel and Mercy's kids, and they all behave. But you can tell the new kids that come in. The new kids that come in have not been fed well. They have not been cared for well. And they're starting to get on their feet with Samuel. And then you go back and I shake the little hands of the little boys and little girls, and their eyes are brighter and their skin is clearer and healthier, and they have more energy and they play a lot more. And when you do these VBSs, they just sing with all their might. So, they throw their mouth open and they don't leave nothing inside. And it is just a blast to do a VBS with those kids.
Oh, yeah, the feast day. Oh, yeah.
someday going to teach like this?
You bet.
Michael, he's a great guitar player. He's just a really sweet guy, and very motivated. Would do anything for you. Great all-around guy.
I met Michael in 2003 while he was staying with his grandparents. At that time, his father was trying to put him in the Buddhist monastery to become a monk. And the grandparents requested me to find a Christian orphanage for him.
They took him in themselves because they couldn't find anyone. That boy is so grateful.
Samuel is good teacher and teach me how to read the Bible.
I mean, he just weeps because someone brought him in and told him about Christ.
Lama yao le, tu a mera piu pin pi. Choro ngye ro ma ti ge wo, da me ji la de chin bu pi, sia metta. Bao ji le so bu ti la.
As soon as they get older, rather than just kicking them out of the nest, they move on to what's called a transition home. These transition homes are right in the middle of downtown. It's in like a 20-story high-rise apartment, and they get jobs.
And I can tell you Samuel is probably one of the best partners that Hopeful Hearts has ever had. Samuel has not only is a preacher and has the love of Christ in his heart, but he's also an entrepreneur.
Since we began the ministry, I decided, and I have been trying to become self-sustaining ministry in one day. And we come up with the idea of starting the convenience store in one day for our community. The reason we start the store is, one is to get income, another one is to teach the young people about trading. So community people come and buy, and so they learn how to do business and trading, all these things. So it has been a great blessing for our family with this store. I can say I grew up with the cows since I was a young boy.
We loaned him a small micro-business loan to buy 10 cows and a bull. And we give him the first year of no payments because any startup business has unexpected expenses in the first year. And he did have some challenges. He lost a cow to a snake bite. Well, he took his first year to invest back into his dairy so it would be even more solid. So he's up to 18 cows and got calves everywhere and got a bull on site and is a very good manager. I'm very impressed.
Not bad in here. It's not bad. Yeah, it's all clean and washed out.
He sends me his financials, and he's been sending them every month via just a camera. I give him a little ledger in March when I was there. And we have the tangible evidence of how much he's getting a visa for his milk, and what his expenses are, and what even his labor expenses. Everything is right there.
Yeah, you got a future, Ryan. You got a future, man.
I mean, we are seeing hope come out of something as simple as a dairy project.
I have a heart for the children, and day by day, year by year, the children are increasing at my home.
Well, Jeremy's one of our other partners that Samuel introduced us to, and he had also taken in some children. And he lives in Mandalay currently. He has how many? About 35 kids now, of all different ages. And he's a really neat preacher that also wants to be sustainable.
It is good time to consider for the self-sustaining or income generation works for the orphanage. So we done application for Jake Bates project to Hopeful Heart, and graciously we were granted.
He's purchased some of the raw materials, he's purchased the equipment, and they're in the training period now of learning how to make little jade beads to sell.
Oh, look at that.
It's very hard to find someone who can teach the children. I thank God for he is really good. Though he is very young, he is very good, and he has a heart for the jades and a heart for the children. In this VBS, he was here learning from Christian things. He is from Buddhist background, but he is learning. Without your help, this will not happen, and these people will not be beneficial. Think about it. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Teach to Transform is a wonderful partnership for Hopeful Hearts, and we started in Myanmar, and I think we're going to continue in India. But what they do is they love to teach people how to assess children's health, especially in areas where healthcare is not available.
Our partnership has been a real blessing that Hopeful Hearts comes in and empowers these children with the love of Christ, and we then give them a gift of healthcare, farming, and try and give them a gift to share the gospel of Jesus Christ.
They also have provided modules for us to teach motorcycle repair, sewing, hair cutting, and now Farming God's Way. And for the last 3 years, we've been working with Teach to Transform in Myanmar, and we have really seen transformation. We've seen excitement in the vocational training, and people have traveled up to 1,000 miles to attend their medical teaching.
This is the ambu bag, and it comes with 2 different sizes of masks.
Our team is now working, training local believers and pastors and orphanage caregivers in basic medical skills, vital signs. We also focus on childbirth, helping babies breathe.
Debbie.
Hello?
Debbie,
Hello?
I'm going to have a baby. Can you please help me?
Yes, Brenda, I'll be right there. I'll call Josiah.
Wait 3 to 5 minutes before you cut the cord.
With that skill set, they're able to not only care for their orphanages, but also share the gospel. And as the week goes by, you'll see less of us teaching and more of them teaching each other. And their responsibility that has been given to them by Christ is to then go out into their communities as a healthcare team to teach others the skill sets they've been giving, and by that way creating a whole army of healthcare workers caring for their own community and caring for the orphans.
See how that's light and dry? See how this is moist? See how that's moist? It sticks together, right? Because of this blanket. We call this God's blanket.
Farming God's Way teaches them what these great gifts God has given them for nothing, that it can bring food to their table. So we come in and we put this blanket of just leaf matter and sticks and weeds that we think's a pest, and lay that dead matter on top, so when it rains, it percolates in very slowly and saturates the ground like a sponge. And then when the dry weather comes, it shields the ground from the sun.
Where she had it much thicker, then the sun would not penetrate the blanket and keep the moisture in.
We went back to God's way of looking at things and built the soil up so that it could perform the way God made it to perform. And when we do this, we bring them back to the Bible, and we talk about being the good stewards, and we talk about the bounty that God gives, that we're to be bountiful as with others, the way that He's bountiful with us. We give to others the same as He's given to us. And so it's a real ministry, farming God's way. And it's a ministry that's very practical and brings an application of food in a place that is very badly needed.
Poverty there is intense. It's unlike anything you would ever see in this country. People living in bamboo shelters, what we would call lean-tos in many cases, very little by way of running water, electricity, things of that nature, particularly during the rainy season. There is such a difference between the children that Hopeful Heart supports and the children who are either on the street or in the neighborhood with other families or displaced by war and weather, things of that nature.
Well, we call them rice families because that's what we do for them. We provide their staple food every month, which is white rice.
You expect them to go into a place that's kind of like Samuel's when we were driving over there, and you see the house where they used to live next door, and they literally were kicked out and put on just a little piece of property to the side. And going in there, I thought we were just kind of in like a little barn area, but turns out we were in their house.
He was living in effectively a grass hut. It was very substandard. The floor, they had to be raised off the floor because during rainy season, water would be running through the building. The kitchen really was the 3-rock cooking pot where you have 3 rocks, a small fire under it, and it had pots for cooking on it on the ground. That means that the whole house is full of smoke while they're cooking, which is obviously not good for anyone.
There's no privacy to really use the restroom. There's kind of like a little dirt hole in the back with I guess some curtains put up, and that was your restroom. It was really, really bad, especially compared to how Samuel's kids were living. Not that they were living great by any means, but when you saw this, I mean, it was pretty bad.
Samuel asked us if we could help them in any way. He said they're not getting enough to eat. He said, can you at least provide their staple, which would be rice? And we said, how can we say no? We have to. We have to find a way to support these families so these children can become followers of Jesus and respectable adults when they grow up. We don't not only feed them, we teach them through these Christian parents, and then we help provide an education for them.
I think the first thing we had to do was to secure the land. So we have purchased 10 acres of land.
That's going to give us almost 300 children in Myanmar that we're supporting and caring for. Because Samuel and his family, of course, will stay on their farm where they are. These are 200 new children over and above the ones that Samuel has. So I mean, it's a big undertaking, and we're going to need help.
They'll have a place where they'll be introduced to the gospel. And without this village, there is no safe haven for these children.
One of the things about this house for me that is so cool is that this house was built here brick by brick. Before breakfast, the children would make 200 bricks. And while they were making those bricks, Samuel would take and lay these bricks up one by one. And the trusses in this house are made out of metal. So they kept the construction cost of this house down to $10,000. And I just want you to look at what $10,000 does here in Yangon, Myanmar.
This village will be so different than what these families have been used to. It's going to be amazing. They'll have brick homes, concrete floors, metal roofs, a real substantial home that they can live in for a long, long, long time. They'll also have restroom facilities. We'll have sewage systems. They'll have roads in front of their houses, and they'll also have community of 9 other families living with them.
This village, one of the neatest things I think in it is going to be a church where they can all come together as a Christian community.
We had a wonderful groundbreaking service where we read scripture, we prayed, we sang together. There were about 40 orphans that sang songs. We all turned a shovel of dirt over. We went all the way around the circle of about 60 people. It was touching. It was a gripping experience.
And they're going to say, this is home. And they're going to be able to look back on that place the rest of their life and say, I was wanted there, that I was loved there. And it's going to give them, I mean, that just puts a security inside of your heart.
I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine till Jesus comes. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Let it shine till Jesus comes.
Greetings from Myanmar. We have had a great time this week with over 100 children at Samuel Thang's home. We did VBS. We've had lots of interaction with these beautiful children. And each of these children can use your support for school uniforms, for food, for all of the things that are necessary for them to grow up. We're thankful to God that we are able to be here, and through your support, this great work will continue.
Shine your